What's going on? Welcome to Grind Season. This is Anthony Sain, one of the co-hosts of the Grind Season podcast, along with my good friend, Jason Smith of the Jason and John Show, which you can hear every Monday through Friday on 92.9 ESPN. Of course, they are Odyssey Station. Jason, what's going on, my brother?
Not much, sir. Very excited about tonight's show. We'll get to the reason. Still trying to figure out what the hell happened with the Grizzlies, where you were up 23 and lost by 20-something to the Bulls. I can't figure.
Yeah, that's a nice that's a nice difference, nice point differential, man. You were up 20 and lost by 20. That's never a good place to be for sure. But we're not gonna waste much time on that, Jason Smith. I got somebody on today who I think can help us get over that Chicago loss on the road. He is a good friend of me and yours. We both have done a lot of things with him on and off the air. He's been out of the game for a minute, Jason Smith. But we are the first podcast, actually the first show. He came on when he first, got away from radio. But this is the first podcast he's done. Good friend of mine, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Peter Edmiston is joining us today.
Woo! Yeah.
Sports 56 grind time. Peter Edmiston, what's going on, my brother?
Look at this.
Man, good. Man, we made it, man.
Reunited, and it feels
so good. They heard it sing in a minute. They heard it.
I gotta get that Jason Smith that bass. So I gotta get that little bass line.
I used to sing along, and I'm not supposed to say this, but I used to sing along in the car with you guys. Man, it would be to me. It was like a trio because on my way to every morning on the way to school.
Back in the day, you couldn't talk about that. That was, it was like, WCW and WWF back in the day. You couldn't mention the other faction out there,
Yeah. No, I'm happy. I'm happy to have you two back together.
No,
I think the world's been waiting on this.
It's the three of us, to be honest, because, the world may not remember back many, many, many moons ago, Jason Smith made his radio debut with yours truly. Back over on the Sports 56 airwaves before he blew up with the folks at 92.9, and I told, and Jason will tell you this. I told him in the parking lot of Flynn Broadcasting, one of the least beautiful places in Memphis. I told him, I said, "You're made for this, man." I said, "This man is made for this." I said, "Is the voice, the style?" I said, "He's made for this." Yeah. And I'm happy that, I'm happy that it's come true. And then, of course, Anthony saying, everyone knows, you and I relationship goes way back.
My brother,
so,
man.
That's it's just not. It's nice to see you guys, man. It's nice to be back in the mix a little bit, just a little bit. I'm just going to dip my toe here and there. I'm only doing this because I love you guys. So I just want to get back in there a little bit.
Appreciate it.
This ain't me buttering you up, and I know Sain's got a lot to tell you too. But the Memphis media, Memphis in general, we miss you, and we miss your voice, brother. We miss your perspective and everything else. So I know as long as you're happy, we're happy. But we miss you, brother. We absolutely.
I am happy, but I do miss. I miss you guys. I miss. There are certain aspects I don't miss. There are certain individuals I don't miss. And there are certain individuals I do miss, and you guys are amongst the latter for sure. I have such appreciation and respect for the way that both you guys have gone about your business too, and I'm thrilled that the grind season's a way for you, for everybody to kind of come together and do something fun and a little bit off the books, a little bit, kind of off the beaten path, a little bit, kind of, you don't have to go through some of the corporate stuff that you have to do.
For sure.
In the other way, you know what I mean? So it's nice. It's nice for that to happen, man. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be part of it, man. This season's been so weird anyway, man. I don't even know where we go. Honestly,
that's why we need you.
Who knows, man?
Peter, I'll say one thing that definitely, since our days of doing radio, me and you days of doing radio have ended.
Mm-hmm.
All the time there's stuff that happens. I was like, damn, man, this is one of those days I still wish we had a show. Like, it's so many things I wanted to talk about, like outside of just Grizzlies stuff, because we can, of course, come on here and we can talk with even more liberty here than we could even on the radio. But there's certain news stories that I was like, me and Peter would have told that thing up, man, for sure.
Man, it's like this, I don't know when
like
this is
today
drop.
with the whole Angel.
Exactly. I was gonna say that whole thing, man.
You would have killed it, man.
That's such a ridiculous situation. And man, there's there's so much nonsense and bias and stupidity from a lot of aspects of these folks in sports media that I do miss coming on and kind of, taking shots as much as I can at those folks.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like, we had a responsibility to speak truth to power and, to the extent that we can. And like, I always felt like, just since we're being candid on this podcast, I always felt a special obligation, I guess, because where I'd come from, because of the color of my skin, that I could say some things that maybe Anthony couldn't get away with, or maybe, you back in the day couldn't get away with, Jason, or maybe, CJ back in the day couldn't get away with. I felt obligated that if, because it's perceived differently, whether that's not fair, but that's the truth, is that some people will perceive it differently. And I always felt like that's an obligation that I had, that if I wouldn't be doing right by the city that is, majority Black, to speak with a voice that is aware of that and that is sensitive to that. And, I think I look and I still don't think enough people understand that concept going forward.
Right. Yeah, man, I definitely feel you on that. That's definitely something that I always respected, when we did our show. We could come in and just say how we felt about things. Now, how that turned out, that's debatable. But who cares at the end of the day, man? Like I'd rather live a life where I feel like I was being genuine, like I served purpose, like I was part of the greater good. That's definitely how I felt.
Oh yeah,
Monday through Friday. I
can tell. Yeah, I can tell the stories now. I got in trouble with the previous employer because I said something. It was very benign, honestly. Like, I mean, it wasn't much to it, but I just talked about how the former president, the one who's indicted, he said how the way he was speaking to folks.
How dare you?
It was on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I'll never forget it. And I said how he's speaking to folks is. I said I said the discourse in this country, man, is getting coarse. I remember it, coarse. That's the word I use, coarse, because I think it's true. We're not talking to each other with sensitivity and appreciation with respect. I got called into the office for that.
Yeah.
And threatened that they were going to like fire me. And I said,
I don't doubt it, man.
And I said, I'll tell you what I thought. I said, I want to let you guys are going to actually try to fire me on Martin Luther King Jr. Day for saying that the discourse in this country needs to be that's y'all gonna go with that? I said, yeah, that's what y'all gonna go with.
Yeah, that's what we do.
We backed off on they backed off on that one once they realized how insane that would be. But that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff that you have to deal with. Like it's just it's crazy. Like it's crazy. So I don't know. We can tell stories. I don't know if y'all want to.
I've got similar stories. We ain't gonna roll with it. But I did mention, Peter, that there were certain things that I wish that me and you were doing the show together that we could talk about. Something Grizzly related that I've always wanted to hear your opinion on. I know you've kind of spoke. I read your tweets about it, but I want to hear these things coming to your mouth. You talked about how this has been a crazy season. One of the craziest things, of course, is the Ja Morant drama that we're fresh off of. Ja's not been back for a while now. Seems like he's been back for a few weeks now, seems like. What are your overall thoughts on the Ja Morant situation, and not what happened, but what do you think the future looks like for Memphis, Ja Morant, and the Grizzlies?
Well, I think, first of all, the guy's, he's 23, and we have to put all that in perspective. There's a lot of people who are lining up to pile on Ja Morant and his family for a lot of things, and to be fair, a lot of the behavior that's happened from his family is beyond the pale. Some of the stuff that's happened from his friends is too much. And it's not helping Ja. It's not helping anybody. That stuff does need to be dealt with. But to take that and then to fold this young man into the mix, call him the stuff that I've heard him called about being a thug or being a this or, being people accusing him of all sorts of addictions that, man, it's none of my business. People that are, I saw the press conference when he came back at FedEx Forum, and I was just, I was really surprised at the language that was used and the insinuations about alcohol abuse to a 23-year-old. Listen, Michael Jordan was out in Atlantic City getting drunk and gambling 12 hours before Eastern Conference Finals Game 7 back in 1993. And I don't recall anyone talking about how Michael's got an alcohol problem or Michael's got this or Michael. At the time, it was just, it's Michael. Now, he's 23. He can do what he wants. If he has issues or problems, that's on him. I can't speak to that, and it would be irresponsible for me to speak to that. I think it's ridiculous for people to try to put themselves in a position to be this man's therapist. That's for his therapist to talk about. That's for his doctor to talk about. That's for his family, the people that he's getting his, all the therapy that he's getting. Those counselors, those are people that can talk to him about that stuff. Nobody in this business can talk to him about any of that. And I think people need to keep that out of their mouths because that's disrespectful to him. Whatever issue he's got is his issue, and it's none of my business. To the extent that it matters to the Grizzlies play, that's something that the organization can determine and figure out and deal with. But it's one thing for me to talk about, well, is he playing as well as he did? No. Are there issues on the court? Yes. But does that mean that I can start to insinuate, well, it's because he's got an alcohol problem or because he's got this kind? No, that is completely out of bounds. And I think it's appalling, some of the things that have come out of people's mouths. Just let this thing play out the way it's going to play out.
What should be the Grizzlies' responsibility level in all of this, PE, just in terms of, I guess letting it get to this point with John? It's not a matter of maybe letting it's not the right word, but whatever their role is in not allowing it to get to this point. We, saw the reports of the players only meeting where it's, they want to discuss his road behavior. What's their obligation in terms of helping him reach the best version of him and avoiding, future situations like this, if any?
No, I think, Jason, that is the question that they have to wrestle with, and I'm sure they've been wrestling with for the last, year or two with, various incidents involving his dad and the stuff in Indiana and the stuff this summer and all that. There are things they're going to have to deal with, but that's true of, he is an employee of the Memphis Grizzlies. And just like anybody is an employee of whoever employs them, they have certain qualifications, things they have to do. There are certain rules and regulations you have to follow to be an employee of that organization. It's no different for the Memphis Grizzlies and John Morant. And if he's not following those rules and regulations, then his employer, the Memphis Grizzlies, they need to talk to him and work with him and figure out what has to be done. And if they have to punish him, if that's part of the collective bargaining agreement, which, it is to, if it reaches a certain point, then they're within their obligation and right to do that. But beyond that, it's just an employer-employee relationship. And from the Grizzlies' perspective, now his teammates, it's different because you are a collective, you're a team trying to achieve a certain goal, and John Morant is vital to that goal. If he's not performing to the standard that team and the leadership within that team set, then it's on them to hold him accountable. And I think that, to your point, Jason, a lot of people have done that. There have been some people internally that have spoken with him that are trying to hold him accountable. And he seems to have been receptive to that from everything that I have heard and seen. So that's it. There's nobody else, unless it is a situation where, like any other employer, if you have an employee that shows up drunk, if you have an employee that shows up high when that's, against the rules, if you have an employee that shows up unable to do the duty that they are being paid to do, then yes, you have to step in. Whatever John Morant's problems have been, he was putting up all NBA level numbers prior to this. It wasn't reaching the point where you got to have an intervention because this man, can't even step onto the floor.
Right.
I mean, Allen Iverson was an incredible player. And if you talked about people that saw him off the court, he was an incredible partier. And he balanced that. Now, did that affect his career longevity? Maybe. And that's something that the organization will probably talk to him about. But these are adults, man. This isn't a high school. I can't stress enough that people want to get involved in these guys as if they are high schoolers, and they're not. These are professionals. The organization will figure it out. Ja Morant will figure it out. He's getting therapy. He's getting help to figure it out. I trust that that'll be the case. I just, everybody's growth is different, man. Everybody's life is different. Some people are super mature at 23. Some people are kids at 40. That's how it goes.
Mm-hmm. You made some very good points for sure regarding Ja. And we, of course, have Peter Edmiston here, formerly of the Grind Time show on Sports 26 Grind Time. I'm sorry. It's been a while, Peter, since I had to call that out.
You forgot the name of the show.
Yeah, I forgot the name of the show.
Grindville. Grind City. No, that's not.
Grind Zone. But
the Grind Zone.
No, man. But yeah, we were thinking about the name of the show.
This man can't even remember the name of his show. I mean, come on, that's why Jason did. That's why they do Jason and John, because you can't forget that. That's just
right, exactly.
So but you can tell that we are a cousin of that show of Grind Season here. We are certainly a cousin of Grind.
Right.
Grind Time.
Oh, it's more than cousin, because we were contemplating like, hey, can we just take Grind Time? Like, I doubt Flynn actually owns it, so can we just like? I don't think Peter would buy it. Like, we thought about it, so
I think you could have taken it. I think it could have been a hostage.
It's like half brother of that show.
Yeah. I appreciate y'all sending me this backdrop, by the way. It's expensive. I don't know how
appreciate you, man. Yeah, don't
I didn't get that cool script up on the other side over here.
No, came in too late.
How do other people do this? I don't know how they do this, but over here, I want my script.
I didn't know what's what.
I can't. I always get it opposite here, but I want my name in cursive and all that stuff.
Yeah, I got you. Next time, I got you.
Come on, man.
Of course, we're here with Peter Edmiston.
Going cheap on me. I want the whole full deal.
I got you, bro.
Fireworks.
I might email it to you.
You curse on the show.
Yeah, we curse. Come on now. You think I'm on something that's like not on the radio? Cuss? Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man. Okay, I just want.
But yeah,
poop. Okay.
Make sure you guys subscribe to the Grind Season Podcast and follow us on Twitter at the Grind Season Pod. You see our social media handles if you're watching this on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Odyssey Sports on YouTube, of course. And of course, we have our good friend and guest, Peter Edmiston. Peter, you were just talking about Ja Morant. You were talking about the All-NBA selection. That's been kind of a hot button topic too. Whether Ja should be penalized at all for the off the court stuff. And it's like people talking about Ja like he's been gone. He was gone for months or something. I mean, Ja missed like what I think 9 games total, 8 game suspension plus the game he took off for as conditioning and whatever to rev himself back up. People are talking like Ja was like gone for months. You know what I mean? So I think me personally, I think that all the will Ja make the all NBA team stuff is a silly discussion, because even when I try to write down my list of guys, it's hard for me to come up with a group of 6 guards in the NBA that I have over Ja Morant. Am I looking at this? Am I oversimplifying this? Is this my own personal bias or what?
I mean, it's hard because first and foremost, I mean, just in a big picture situation, I think it is phenomenally stupid that the media of the NBA has any say in whether or not Ja Morant's going to make $40 extra million because he's an all NBA selection and he's then subject to the Supermax rather than the regular max. That is a complete conflict of interest. Like you can't tell me that makes any sense at all. And then I see the new collective bargaining agreement that has the stipulation that a player has to play in 65 games, which again, Jaren will only play in 64 if he plays in every game from here on out. Does that you tell me he's not a defensive player of the year based on his performance, and that one game would make it? Come on, man. We overthink this stuff so much. The All NBA award, though, I mean, I agree with you in the sense of like it's hard to come up with 5 other guards plus one that you'd have instead of Ja, that one extra one. But again, is it strictly performance? Is it performance at their peak? Is it like the pinnacle performance? Is it strictly like what have you actually done on a game-to-game basis? Do you penalize somebody? Like, I look, not to say that Mikal Bridges is going to make an All-NBA team or anything like that, but the dude never misses a game. Do you give him a little extra bump because he never misses a game? He's going to play 83 games this year. He's played 5 years, hadn't missed a game. Does that give him a little extra nudge because you say, I appreciate that you are available? Maybe. Right. Sometimes players miss games and it's not their fault. They want to play. but the organization holds them back. And that's particularly true in Memphis, where the organization is extremely heavy-handed about, holding guys back and holding guys' minutes down. Jaren, when he's not fouling, also gets his minutes held down. Is that fair to him? No. Can he put up the same numbers? Probably not, as a guy that's playing, 40, 41 minutes on big games and probably 35 in other games. So I find the All-NBA discussion hard, man, because of those things. Like, I just think it becomes silly. Like, can we really like nitpick between, like, Damian Lillard's a great player, but like his team's nothing. Like, what do you do with players who put up big numbers on empty teams? Like, I don't know. Like, people are talking about Trae Young. Like, I mean, come on, man. That team's been 500 for 4 years.
3 years.
I mean, do you give him any credit for that? Come on. No. I think it's stupid, man. I think the discussion it's interesting, but I think it sucks that it has actual relevance to his money. I think that's stupid. Like,
that's the wild
never touch his pocketbook.
That people like us are deciding whether or not Ja deserves $40 extra million in his pocket. Here's my thing. I don't know.
Stupid.
Is that a CBA thing, or can the Grizzlies overrule it? Can the Grizzlies say, "Look, we're giving this dude"?
No, it's a CBA thing. I mean, you are eligible. The way the contracts work at this point, the Supermax is 125%, or no, it's 30% or 25% of the cap for guys that in Ja's position coming off of their rookie deal, but it's 30% of guys in that next, like, when you're 6 to 9 year experience. So you jump up a thing, you jump up a character. So you go from 25% to 30%. If that were the case, that's why he gets that extra money. So they don't know exactly how much it's going to be, because it's all a percentage of the cap, but it's at least 40. It'll be more than that probably. It should never come to that. That to me is silly. I don't know, man. I don't think, if I'm being honest, I don't think Ja's been quite at the level that I need him to be totally convinced of all NBA. He's been fantastic, but defensively, since he's come back, he's regressed in my mind. The finishing at the rim is always been, he always has such a challenging time, and he makes amazing shots, but he has to also make right decisions. And those have been a little bit off. That the ratio of that's been a little bit off since he's returned. So, we're talking about fine margins here, but I'd say, in my mind, I think he's maybe a little bit short this year.
Yeah,
that's even. I'm talking about just even excluding the. I'm not factoring in discipline or anything like that into the mix now.
How concerned are you, 4 games left in the regular season, about offensive pecking order? I bring it up because we saw the comments from Ja after the Clippers win, essentially that, hey, I got to get used to being, I'm the third option now. We got Jaren, we got Bane, and then I'm just gonna, when I get my chance, I'm just gonna take it. The fact that here we are 4 games from the postseason, and we're still talking about pecking order. If you look at that Bulls game, that ugly loss, it's Jaren 20 shot attempts, Ja 16, okay, but then you got Brooks with 15, Bane with 12, so it gets a little bit off here. How concerned are you about offensive pecking order going into a playoffs that we've got some pretty high expectations?
Well, I mean, I would. The Bulls game was definitely concerning. I mean, just in general. I know there are reasons why that loss happened, and you can't read a whole lot into it. Just Grizzlies on the road, though, have been bad.
Miserable. Yeah.
And I think part of what you're talking about, Jason, is the reason why. You have to have. I'm a big believer, man, that you have to have a hierarchy. Like, you got to have, Roman Reigns. You got to have a tribal chief. You got to have a head of the table, and you got to have the Usos. You got to have. Solo. You can't have everybody out here trying to be Roman Reigns. It's not. That ain't gonna happen. Right. And Ja
Who's
Morant.
Dylan Brooks in that equation?
Yeah, Dylan Brooks is like
Solo.
He's the one threatening to mess it up right now. I'll tell you
he's kind of solo. He kind of has a solo kind of thing. He'll sneak up on you, and I watched Solo last night in the WrestleMania. I think Dylan Brooks I think that's a similar role for Dylan. I think he could absolutely pull that up. But no, Ja's got to be Roman Reigns. I mean, that's long in the short of it. Like, especially in the fourth quarter, you can have guys that have big fourth quarters off of Ja, but Ja's the one who has to set everything up. Ja's the one who has to set the table. You could have kick outs, drives, those sorts of things. You can have all that stuff. But Ja has to be the one that initiates. And that team is built around Ja doing that. Everybody mentally expects Ja to do that. And Ja sometimes has this, I think, in saying, you and I talked about this a lot on Grind Time sometimes, where Ja has this kind of false modesty thing sometimes that he'll kind of throw into the mix where, I just, I'm just going to, I guess that's just what it is, No, he knows. He knows in his heart, like he knows, what the situation is. He knows what he's got. He knows what's going on. And I think he plays that up a little bit just to kind of give the people what they want. People like, a selfless star. And I think he's pretty selfless. But, man, I hope, Jason, that in his heart he knows he has to be Roman Reigns. I hope he's the one that knows he has to be the straw that stirs the drink. He got to be the head of the table because I love Jaren. I'm the biggest Jaren fan you're going to find. Jaren is not the head of the table. I have appreciation for Desmond Bain and the numbers he's putting up and what he's done. He's not the head of the table. Dylan Brooks may think he's the head of the table, and there are probably some tables that he is the head of, but it ain't this one. And that's not the case. And, the less said about some of the bench, as we go through it, the better in terms of that stuff. So I hope he knows. I think he does. Yeah. But it is a concern, Jason, until you see it play out in the playoffs for real. It is a little bit of a concern. Yeah, I agree.
I'm gonna throw out an interesting theory, but first I'm gonna wrap up the whole who's who in the whole bloodline situation. I think I got a better person for Dylan Brooks. I think Dylan Brooks is Paul Heyman. Because you know his value, you see his value, but you're like, all right, if he wasn't here, could we still pull this off if this dude wasn't here? You know what I mean? I think Solo's more of a Steven Adams because he's kind of connected through the tribal chief. They kind of need each other to get out, Yeah. So I think Solo's is Steven Adams, and I think that Paul Heyman will be Dylan Brooks.
The difference is I don't think Paul Heyman. I don't think that Dylan is going to be the wise man or the advocate as he was for those guys. Dylan is you remember Dylan saying, "Nah, it's the big three, me, Jared, that's the big three, obviously, and the other guys. I hope they could just sort of get involved and." Shoot their shots and
Yeah. See, we knew who Dylan was when we
Jaren,
got
Jaren and Ja.
I forgot to do his name. when we got
Instagram and just Balenciaga and
when we got
when we
got Justice Winslow. You remember they was like Dylan, they were like, who starts? He was like, well, Kyle could come off the bench. He's used to that, You remember that? Because Kyle was starting or whatever.
Hey,
it was like,
hey, this man, Jason, I don't know if you remember this man up here, Anthony Sain. He went on his you can tell people we talked about this, didn't we? I mean, I don't want to blow your spot up, but this man.
What you talking about when I went up to the press conference, the Grizzlies press conference?
When you were on the Zoom call. When you're on the Zoom call, this man bet somebody on his group chat $100.
No, that was on the air.
Oh no, you asked for $100 to your WhatsApp, right? Or your
No, that was on our show.
No, I know, but I'm saying you asked somebody to send you $100 via like Venmo or something, right? Cash App.
It was a caller. It was the
no. This is different. You're thinking no. You showed me. This man had somebody Venmo'd him $100 to do the Dylan voice to Dylan. He did,
what?
But it was one of our callers, though, Peter. It wasn't nobody.
I know, but you actually had the money. You sent me the text. Somebody actually Cash App this man $100 to go on the Grizzlies.
Ask Dylan a question. Ask Dylan.
And ask Dylan a question as Dylan.
As Dylan. I don't remember. How did this work out? How did Dylan respond? I must know.
He didn't realize what he was. I don't think
he didn't realize what was happening.
It's like,
do you guys? I said with you,
John.
John, Jaron, do you think you guys can make the playoffs? He was like, hell yeah, man.
Just answer the same language.
Yeah,
I forgot all about that,
man.
bro.
Oh man, he sent me the screenshot of somebody. I said, "This is the easiest $100 you ever made." I said, "Oh my god, you want me to go? I can." You should have done John the job.
That buddy spent well too. You should have called. You should have came in and jumped. That would have been perfect. That would have been gold.
Seemed like a good game to me.
A good game to me. Oh, you mentioned Jaren Jackson Jr., and I know that you are a longtime fan of Jaren Jackson Jr. What's it like watching him? You know what I mean? You got, NBA All-Star, first team all defense, probably possible defensive player of the year, depending on who you ask. Like, what's it like seeing Jaren turn into this player, and what do you think his runway is? What do you think his ultimate? What do you think he can turn into?
Emotional, man. I just get emotional.
I know, man. I know it's hard.
Give me a second.
It's like watching my own son out there.
It's like watching my boy grow up. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. my little man's growing up before my very eyes. Oh.
Yeah, man.
It's like seeing little Gabe and CJ just growing up now and doing taekwondo and like little Triple J out there just blocking shots and making defensive plays. It's beautiful, man. It's beautiful out there.
Talking about Anthony
Davis, love it, man. I sometimes you get them right. Man, I saw Jaren was my guy from the jump. I love Jaren. I love his personality. I love his energy. I love his way of doing things. There's a reason why he's up for that teammate of the year award, whatever the hell that is. I don't know what that signifies, but I mean, he's a good dude. And then obviously defensively, man, he's incredible. I remember I sat down with Taylor Jenkins literally right before the pandemic, like 3 days before the pandemic. I had a rare sit down interview for The Athletic with him. We talked for about an hour plus, so this, that, and the other. And he said, Jaren's potential, he said he could be a defensive player of the year and maybe even an MVP down the line. And I thought, oh, okay.
Right.
That's pretty big. I love Jaren, but even I was taken aback.
I ain't calling no MVP yet. Especially not back then, no.
Hey, man, he's the defensive player of the year. He is without a doubt the defensive player of the year. You can take your Brook Lopez and shove it right up your ass. It ain't Brook Lopez.
Right.
It ain't anybody else. I mean, Dylan, no. It's he single-handedly changes games, and he has all year long. And the man he's what was interesting. Now, I will say this: to put my little analytic hat on, not that. Bears hat. You have the Kangol on today, Jason. I don't know. No. It's not okay. I'm gonna put my analytic. Okay. If I had an analytic, I'd put one on too, but I don't.
Would it really fit though, Peter? Is there actually a hat that you could just like slide on and off real?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No, it's got to be a ski mask, basically. Like I can't do anything else. I can't do anything else. I'm like Pooh Shiesty over here, just. And I can't do that. I can't do the thing with it, but yeah, that's what that sound. Yeah, I was trying to. I can't do it. I can't do it. My mouth didn't do it. But anyway,
all right.
My analytic hat on, my analytic ski mask on. I gotta come up with like an analytic ski, like it'd be my little gimmick, like my little Pooh Shiesty of analytics. Like you come in and just
That's Will.
Take everybody's attention. Anyway, I think I'm curious because the Bulls, it was interesting yesterday. The fact that they had wings that were so potent, and they really put Jaren in the mixer as far as, putting like Vucevic out to force Jaren to kind of go cover perimeter and put him in some short side situations where, like on a strong side, he's got to make a choice between two guys. And they pulled him away from, if he's got to be responsible for Vucevic, Jaren's really at his best when he's playing center field and he gets to just kind of be the low man and go in there and roam and disrupt, come be a weak side defender for, this, that, and the other. The Bulls didn't let him do that. They really gave him an initial responsibility to go out and kind of dragged him away from the areas where he could be most effective. And I feel like a lot of teams are going to kind of look at that, especially the teams that have some potent wings with maybe a stretch. You know, most teams now have a guy that can stretch you out a little bit and go and force you to go defend him as a big. I think teams that are going to do that with Jaren, that's going to be really interesting to see what the Grizzlies do, because they did horribly with that against the Bulls. They had no response to it whatsoever. And that's the first time I've seen Jaren really kind of taken out of it a little bit. I think he'll learn. I think it's a good lesson, honestly, to learn now, as opposed to, you know, in the playoffs when you can't really make those adjustments. I think now maybe he can go back and take a look at the film and figure out how he can be as effective while also being responsible for the bigs that are kind of pulling him out. But that's something to keep an eye on. I love, but man, at the end of the day, I love Jaren. I love he's incredible, and he's still, you know, a year younger than Ja, and he's still scratching the surface, man. He's a monster. That dude is a monster.
You forgot to add. Go ahead. You forgot to add NBA PA Vice President Jaren Jackson.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's exactly right. On top of everything else, he's a leader.
Another sign of his maturity. Yep, his embracing of that leadership role. Luke Kennard, did you sort of, what did you expect, and can he be an impact guy in playoffs where that shooting is, whether it's helping you in the half court or he's hitting a big shot late? How much can a Luke Kennard help them in these playoffs, Pete?
I mean, he's huge, man. If you look at the numbers with him and Bane together, is phenomenal. Right. You put out those guys with Ja, and then you let them kind of, now you may have some issues defensively a little bit, but I mean, man, what is he shooting, like 55% as a Grizzly from three? Like it's just insane numbers. Guys, you know, nasty Nardo, man. He's outrageous to watch him do his thing. And man, look, he's been better than I thought he'd be, Jason. I still think in the playoffs, you know, defensively, you're going to have to see kind of how it shakes out with him. But I like the fact that they're using him, you know, not only as a standstill shooter, but they're letting him kind of, you know, create a little bit, letting him drive. Right. I think that's something that Taylor Jenkins has always really emphasized in the offense, guys that can do multiple things, you know, with the ball. You look at Desmond Bane, downhill Dez now, you know, people thought, hey, this guy's going to be a standstill shooter, and he's amazing. But now he's, you know, taking the ball to the basket. Now he's, you know, got averaging, he had like what, 22, 5 and 5 last month. I mean, you know, he's putting up, you know, big multiple type numbers. So I think the same thing's true of Kennard, where he's, you know, for all the stuff you can say about Jenkins and his rotations, which are sometimes jacked up. And I think Jenkins' in-game management can be questioned. I think his personal management of players cannot be. I think he has fostered a really good culture, a really good group. Those guys play for him. He makes guys better. He has tended to improve pretty much. Look at a guy like Xavier Tillman, who would have been perfectly within his rights to just check right out. I saw Xavier Tillman in September at the book fair at my school. His daughter goes to the same school my son and daughter go to, and my man was in the book fair line for 30 minutes, just chilling, just waiting like all the rest of us schlubs, and just, you know, whatever, man, doing his thing. He wouldn't probably thinking that he was going to have a major role in this team. Who knows? But he stayed ready, and now look at him, man. He's been phenomenal. So I don't know, man. It's just I think Jenkins, for all of his faults, he keeps guys locked in, and he gets the most out of those guys. So, and I think that's true of Kennard too.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Luke in the playoffs for sure, man. We are here with Peter Edmiston, of course. This is the Grind Season Podcast. You guys are listening, however y'all listening to, keep doing it. Whether it's on the free Odyssey app or wherever you listen to podcasts or on YouTube. We thank you guys for checking out this show. The final segment of the show, Peter, we want you to join us if you don't mind, Peter Edmiston. This is a segment that we call Who Brought the Seasoning. And we basically talk about who, since the last time we talked over the last two games, which was a Clippers win over the Clippers at home and a crazy loss against the Bulls on the road. We put this out on Twitter, Peter Edmiston, to the people. Only had about 33 voters today. The winner, or the candidates, were Desmond Bane, John Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Mike Wallace. I put Mike Wallace because of the Steven Adams news that he put in. So I made Mike Wallace a candidate. Mike Wallace did not win, but he came in second place. John Morant did not receive a single vote. I've never seen that ever. John Morant did not receive a single vote. The winner was Desmond Bane at 42%. You guys can go against what the people say if you like. And the floor is Jason, we gonna start off with you.
Now I'll go. It is Desmond Bain. It's 20 or more points in 6 straight contests, 8 of the last 9 for him at that mark. Everybody on the roster has been up and down over the past 6 or so, but not Bain. 3 of those 6 were 25 or more. 17 and 30 from the floor in the 2 previous games. Obviously, the Grizzlies split, but Bain is consistent as a ham sandwich. You know, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm trying to save money, right?
Yeah, man.
I will eat a ham sandwich 5 out of 5 days of the work. I will come home and make a ham sandwich, put that cheese. And I don't know about you guys. I do a little bit of Dijon mustard, and I do a little bit of something. I know Sain don't like that mayo. He don't like that white stuff on. I put a little bit of that on there as well.
I've always told everybody I'm a sauce racist, man. Any white sauce I can't deal with.
You don't do it either, huh, Peter? That does not surprise me.
Any white sauce, I need my sauce.
Bain is the ham sandwich. He is that constant right now for, again, a team that's still got – Peter touched it. You're still trying to figure some things out on this pecking order thing. I don't know if it's Dylan trying to throw the damn thing off or if it's really his job. I'm with you. When the time comes, I have the feeling that Ja's going to pull the reins tighter and be the one. But Desmond Bain, man, always there when you need him, like that ham sandwich for me.
Right. I'm going to switch it up. I will put our wild card of this week in. I'm going to pick Mike Wallace, brother, season this week. Mike Wallace to me I remember growing up as a kid, Jason Smith, back before the FDA ever existed. It wasn't this long ago. But I remember you would get free samples of food that would come in the mail. It would be like a box of cereal or some granola bar or some candy bar. You would just get this unexpected snack or whatever would come in your mailbox. You wouldn't even, they still do that. You still do
they still do that. They still do that.
Shut up. I guess I need like a house or to check my mail.
I don't know. You gotta sign up for it now, but
probably gotta live in a house to get it. But anyway, that's what Mike Wallace was yesterday. An unexpected snack on the side that came in the mail. It didn't come in the mail. It came on our television. Mike Wallace saying that things are looking good for Steven Adams. I am on record for saying that it bothers me how much of an impact that Steven Adams has on this team. But I give up. I concede. Bring the big Kiwi back, man. Bring Steven Adams back as soon as you can. I don't care if it's if it's 2 games left, 3 games left, the middle of the playoffs. I don't care if you do it like hockey and just sub them in while guys on the court. I don't care. I'm ready for Steve Adams to get back. Shout out to Mike Wallace for delivering that news and bringing the seasoning, in my eyes, since the last time we talked. And Peter Edmiston, we're gonna talk the ball to you, my friend. We're gonna let you.
Man, let me just for just a second. I agree with you on the I'm more of a turkey sandwich, but similar. I could eat a turkey sandwich, and I do often eat a turkey sandwich. That's a very common lunch for me. But I put hot sauce on it. I put like a little Louisiana or something like that.
Wow, hot sauce on the turkey sandwich. Spice it up.
I put it on the side, and then I dip the sandwich into the hot sauce. That's
You'll start raw with a motherfucker. You dip it. Turkey sandwich raw hot
right
sauce.
in there, man. I did that today. I had a little turkey bacon with a little less tomato, man. It's good.
Is there a specific type of turkey? Not the smell of turkey sometimes throws me off.
Well,
the smell of turkey can throw me off.
Yes, you are. Yes, that's a very observant point on your behalf, Jason. Thank you. Yeah, you can't. You cannot go with that bargain basement.
Exactly.
Land of Frost or whatever that is. Whatever that is. I can't be doing that stuff.
No, there are some turkeys you can't get.
I cannot.
Turkey ain't right.
Those turkeys did not grow up in a. There's about 50 in one page that are just saddest little turkeys I ever saw. No, I'm gonna tell you my secret. Don't be telling anybody this. I get the Costco has this big old turkey breast like this, and you got to cut it yourself.
Yeah,
I don't have a meat cutter. That'd be great if I did, but I got to just like a schlub. I got to cut it myself, but I do, and then I put it in little Ziplocs and freeze them. And then, man, you take that, and that turkey is beautiful. You're gonna love it. Put it on a sandwich. You. All right.
So what Grizzly player are you comparing to this bomb ass turkey?
Xavier Tillman. That's who I get. Man, Xavier Tillman. I'm giving him a lot of credit because that Clippers game, he was sensational. Now everybody sucked against the Bulls. So apart from Desmond, I mean, and even Desmond was,
just okay.
Jaren had 31, but come on. It wasn't a meaty 31. The defense was problematic. Xavier Tillman, man, he's been amazing. I've written him off dead and buried, and this dude has played his tail off for this team and has saved them on a number of occasions, including that game, that Clippers game. He was outstanding in that Clippers game. He's
right.
I've been shocked, man. I've been shocked at this dude. He's that seasoning that you forgot about in the back. Maybe you got that little hot sauce container. It's kind of the back of the. And you're looking for something. You're like, man, I need something on this sandwich. I don't want I need something different. And you rummage through trying to figure out where's that. And then all of a sudden, hey, man, I thought this expired. It might have expired, actually. You know what? It's still good, though.
Hey, check it up. It'll bring it back.
Yeah. Bring that sandwich back to life.
Nobody's willing to wait. I'm so glad you brought it. It's just like the story you talk about him waiting in the line, man.
Yeah.
Dude, he's the classic case of you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. And Xavier Tillman stay ready. That's it.
You can't have 15, Xavier Tillmans and win anything, but one and his attitude, man, the fact that he is a professional. That dude's a
super
dad.
Positive.
Through and through,
Summer league.
He's a positive dude. Yeah. He's just a good guy.
Yep.
You need that. That guy is major, a lot more than just what he's done on the court.
He's been like a vet, like a 30+ year old dude in your locker room. The way he
looks like one.
Like that too.
He does. He looks like he's about 35.
But he talks like he's about 16.
You cut the back a little bit, man, with 35. Man.
He does. No, who's more of a vet, him or DeAndre Williams? That's what I want. I mean,
shit.
You talking?
Who's older?
Like 35-year-olds out there. I don't know.
DeAndre is older. Yeah, he's way. DeAndre is way older.
Yeah, way younger. Yeah.
Significantly older. DeAndre.
We got to stop with these college players being 26 years old.
Yeah, man. Enough of that, man. Enough.
Yeah.
Enough of it.
People talking about Stetson.
Hey,
he's gonna be NFL players. He's about 35 years old. I mean, come on, you got 2 years. Him and Chris Winkie are out there. You go retire after year one.
Right. Winkie, that's right.
Peter
Baseball,
Edmiston,
man.
Before we wrap up the show, guys, I have to make a public apology and confession. Peter, one of our most, I guess, infamous segments we did was me clowning on the WNBA for 3 hours.
Well, mostly you, to be fair. I wouldn't clown.
You weren't any part of that, I'm sure.
It was me doing it. It was me. It was me clowning WNBA for 3 hours. And Peter was redder than he is now, fresh off the hot sauce, because I was really just being an idiot. Yeah. I have been won over, and I have moved. I'm officially moving college basketball. Women's college basketball. I have to actually watch some WNBA to change my opinion. But right now, today, in my basketball pecking orders, hierarchy, it's the NBA number 1. I am moving women's college basketball to number 2 in my pecking order. And I would not be surprised if the WNBA either takes over that 2 spot once I watch it this year, or it pushes men's college basketball to 4. That's a dangerous ground. But here I am today making that apology and resetting of my official resetting of my basketball hierarchy. Peter Edmiston, what are your thoughts?
I mean, we're taping this during the men's final. That's all I can tell
you. During the men's
right
broadcast. During the championship game we're recording, which shows you how much
on right now. San Diego State against UConn.
What's the score?
I don't know. Florida Atlantic and San Diego State. That would not have gotten a .001 in December on ESPN2. And that's the national semifinal. I mean, I don't know, man. The women's game had more star power, more swag. Yeah. You're talking about, this Caitlin Clark business. You're talking about watching these LSU girls just like take her, out to the woodshed. Man, that was drama. That was intensity. Man, what's the men? No, men's game can't touch that. And did you see the numbers?
Yes, 10 million just about for the final.
Yeah.
You know that final got more viewers than any NBA playoff game outside of the finals last year.
Wow.
Yeah,
I repent, man. I'm a believer, bro.
Woo. That's big.
I repent.
That's big time right there.
That was some good ass basketball played over this weekend.
It was, and they scored 102-80. I mean, that's a great game.
Yeah.
Why is the men's game still doing halves? They got the quarters. Like you're supposed to have quarters. They can actually advance the ball after timeout like you're supposed to. Men's game is stuck in 1930. I'm surprised it's.
So true.
I mean,
Yeah. Coaching styles and everything.
You don't have the peach basket up there.
Guys,
no wonder Adolph Rupp was able to do it for until way too long in the game, man.
Oh man. Well, Peter, we appreciate you coming on with us today.
Bobby
man.
Knight, I mean, great soaking people.
Gotta do it again, man.
Man, we gotta do this too.
You know, I this is fun, man. I feel like I dragged you guys down to like lengthy. I took your. I think Drew's gonna kill me in the producer spot, but I had too much fun, man. I hadn't done this in a while, man. You gotta, y'all just.
Hey, man, that's why we gave you time, man. We knew it'd been a while.
I appreciate that, man. It's great. It's great. I appreciate it.
Yeah, open invite, man. We all go way back with you, so anytime we'd love to have you.
We'll just send you an email every week, and if you can do it, jump in. Hey, I got time for that tonight.
Hey, man, I love genuinely to all our listeners out there. These two are two of the most genuinely good people that I've ever come in contact with in the business. Where there's not necessarily a lot of good people. These guys are checking constantly. We're talking to each other. These are really good guys, good family people. Great kids. So, man, all the joking aside, and y'all are funny too. So that's great. But I like doing business with people that are good people, and y'all are good people.
Man,
love you, bro.
Same to you, bro.
Love you too.
Much love to you. Yep. Well, y'all, for Peter Edmiston and Jason Smith, this is Anthony Sain. We're gonna holler at y'all and keep grinding.